Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again on Talk and Fight for boxing news today, courtesy of our friends over at boxing247.com, Europe's #1 boxing website. Let's start off with some events that are happening tonight that we forgot to mention throughout the week. Guillaume Fremois faces Giuseppe Carafe in France tonight. Frenchman Guillaume Fremois and Italian Giuseppe Carafa will fight for the World Boxing Association Continental Lightweight title this evening at Salle du Palais de Sport in Saint-Quentin in France. Fremois, a veteran of 1,000 battles, is looking to win the WBA regional title at home and conquer the regional belt of the Pioneer organization. At 38 years of age, he has already been intercontinental champion at 126 pounds and will now be taking on his first challenge of this kind at 135 pounds. Carafa is far less experienced than the local, but is highly motivated. He has been a national champion in his country and has also been a regional champion of several organizations. The Gallipoli native has won 3 of his last 4 fights, and at 27 is at the best moment of his career. So, people over in Europe, I'm sure we're looking forward to that. Other events going on this evening down in Mexico City at the Blackberry Auditorium. Fans are going to see Axel Aragon Vega versus Amando Torres. Axel Aragon Vega and Amando Torres will have a generational battle this Friday, tonight, for the World Boxing Association Fedicentro title in the light flyweight division. Mexico City's Blackberry Auditorium will be the venue for the 118-pound bantamweight showdown organized by All Star Boxing. Aragon last fought Hiroto Kayukushi for the world title. The Mexican was having a very interesting fight until an injury to his right hand forced him out of the fight in the 5th round. The Manny, as he's known, who is only 21 years old, will return in a good regional title fight and knows he must face a dangerous veteran like Torres. So, good times down in Mexico City tonight. Tomorrow night, by the way, as you all know, over in Europe, at the Utilita Arena in Newcastle, you're going to see on a boxer event, Savannah Marshall take on Lolita Muzia for the WBO middleweight title. Also on that bill, Hughie Fury is going to take on Christian Hammer. Chris Eubank Jr. is going to face Wanik Awadjan. And Lewis Ritson is facing an unknown opponent at the moment. But that's a super lightweight division battle. And I'll have a few words from Savannah Marshall regarding her fight in a few seconds. But I just want to mention tomorrow night, October 16th, down in Fresno, California, Eddie Hearn's Matchroom is putting on a fight featuring Mikey Garcia versus Sandor Martin in the catchweight division. And Elwin Soto is going to take on Jonathan Gonzalez for the WBO light flyweight title. As I said, Savannah Marshall versus Lolita Muzia. World middleweight champion Savannah Marshall, stablemate Hughie Fury, and Chris Eubank Jr. faced off with their opponents at today's press conference in the iconic St. James Park Stadium of Newcastle United Football Club ahead of this Saturday night's boxer event at Utilita Arena in Newcastle, which will be aired only on Sky Sports, so I don't think I'll be able to see it here in Toronto or anywhere in North America, frankly. Marshall is defending her WBO championship against undefeated Lolita Muzia. Tough one. Fury faces the heavy-handed heavyweight Christian Hammer, and Eubank Jr. faces the vocally confident Wanik Awadjan of Germany. The boxers were joined on stage at today's press conference by boxers Ben Shalom, Sky Sports' Adam Smith, and Peter Fury, trainer of Hughie Fury and Savannah Marshall. According to Savannah Marshall, who's 10-0 with 8 knockouts, I became world champion in lockdown, and my first defense was in lockdown as well. So this is my first chance to defend in front of my family and friends and let them enjoy the experience with me. I'm expecting a tough fight from Lolita. I'd be a fool to overlook anyone and say she's unbeaten and she doesn't know what it's like to lose. So yeah, I'm expecting her to come forward. I'm expecting the best version of Lolita. I've always been confident in what I can do. And yeah, I know I'll beat Clarissa Shields. I know I'll beat Lolita. but I'm saying it and doing it two different things. Lolita is in my way, and I'll get a shot of her, then crack on with Clarissa. Woo! Good words. Good words. Let's see if she can put some action behind those words. All right, on we go to Africa, a fight we've all been looking forward to that's taking place in Lagos, Nigeria, this Sunday evening. The next chapter in the incredible story of a would-be fighter who has captured the professional boxing world's attention will unfold this Sunday, October 17th, in Lagos, Nigeria. As, with some help from world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury and UK-based CBD manufacturers Brains Bioceutical, the 20-year-old Chibuike Africa Fury Ogbuagu, the real-life boxing fairy tale, will make his long-awaited professional debut. Africa Fury, who started gaining prominence a couple years ago by posting viral videos that depict him training alongside other fistic hopefuls in a less-than-ideal outdoor gym on an unpaved city street in Lagos, will face Nigerian countryman Jibenga Samson in a heavyweight four-rounder at the Beats and Bites Palace Hotel. It's just the latest chapter in an incredible story that begins with a teenage Ogbuagu being invited by a friend to train at the boxing gym, put that in quotes, and instantly falling in love with the sport. Soon after, as a way to maintain motivation in a challenging environment, Ogbuagu began posting his training experiences to his Instagram account. They quickly caught the attention of Tyson Fury, currently, as we know, the undefeated lineal and WBC heavyweight king, who reached out to the young hopeful with first advice and messages of encouragement, and then a large quantity of training equipment and the Gypsy King official apparel for the entire gym. I feel like I'm blessed, said an excited Ogbuagu. It has meant a lot. Every time I wake up and I don't want to train, I still do train because people are waiting for me to do well in boxing, and I'm grateful for that. Frequent supporters and sponsors of boxers around the world, Brains Bioceutical, a global leader in plant-based pharmaceutical wellness and veterinary cannabidiol, CBD, active pharmaceutical ingredient API, also got on board the Africa Fury train quite early in his development and made a commitment to help. Brains Bioceutical Corp chairman Ricky Brar says, thrilled to be part of helping the young African slugger reach his dreams. He says, quote, Brains is very proud to be assisting this young man, said Brar. I've always admired those bold enough to go for their dreams, no matter how unlikely or difficult. Africa Fury is a testament to those who strive for what they want, and we are delighted to be part of his journey. It's a feel-good story all around. Woo! But they're looking forward to that down in Lagos, Nigeria this Sunday night. In other fights coming up, Pierce O'Leary headlines against Shar Oxul in London, October 29th. Undefeated sensation Pierce O'Leary will take on former Southern Area champion Shar Oxul when MTK Fight Night returns to York Hall in London, October 29th. This month's action-packed card will be broadcast live in the U.S. on ESPN Plus in association with Top Rank and worldwide on IFL TV, and is headlined by a WBO Global Super Featherweight fight between Archie Sharp, who's 20-0 with 9 knockouts, and Alexis Boremia Gabor, who's 28-4 with 7 knockouts. O'Leary, who's 7-0 with 3 knockouts, was last in action in June, where he produced a knockout of the year contender by viciously stopping Jan Marsalek in round 2 of their bout. The 21-year-old Dubliner now squares off with Oxul, who's 15-6 with 3 knockouts, who is looking to replicate the form that saw him win the Southern Area Super Lightweight title back in 2017, while he has also gone the distance with the likes of Victor Postol, Anthony Yidgett, Sean McComb, and Samuel Antwi. Welsh star Sean McGoldrick, who's 10-1 with 3 knockouts, will also make his highly anticipated return to the ring as he's back in action for the first time in over 18 months when he faces Stephen Jackson. Good luck to them all. Elsewhere across Europe, we see the European title. Matteo Signani defends it. that European title, that is, against Ruben Diaz over in Rome. Matteo Signani will defend his EBU European middleweight title against Ruben Diaz at the Palazzo della Sport Roma on Friday, November 5th, live around the world on DAZN. Il Giguanro, who's 35-3 with 11 knockouts, captured the vacant European 160-pound crown by outpointing George Kavachian at La Palais Trento in October 2019 before stopping Maxime Boissier in 2 rounds in his next defense in France a year later. Diaz, who's 26-2-2 with 17 knockouts, fights for the EBU title for a second time after he lost out to Polish world title challenger Kamil Shermita in September 2018. One of only 2 losses the former Spanish middleweight champion has suffered in his 30-fight career. In the chief support bout, Rome's undefeated European featherweight champion Maura Fortes, who's 16-0-1, 6 knockouts, puts his belt on the line against Francisco Grandelli, who's 15-1-1 with 3 knockouts in an exciting all-Italian clash. Should be a good one down in Rome. Elsewhere, Kid Galahad makes his first world title defense against Kiko Martinez on November 13th. Kid Galahad will make his maiden defense of his IBF featherweight world title against former world champion Kiko Martinez on the same night that WBC and IBO super featherweight ruler Terry Harper returns to put her belts on the line against USA's Alicia Baumgartner exclusively on DAZN worldwide, excluding Australia and New Zealand for some reason. The world title doubleheader lands at the Utilita Arena, Sheffield on Saturday, November 13th, and is supported by a stellar undercard that features Chris Belliam-Smith, who's 13-1 with 10 knockouts, making his first defense of his European cruiserweight title, leads super bantamweight title Hopi Price, who's 6-0 with 2 knockouts, James Flint, who's 9-0-1 with 2 knockouts, battling Dom Hunt, who's 7-0 with 1 knockout for the Central Area welterweight title. Dante Dixon, who's 5-0, 3 knockouts, squaring off with Jordan McCory, who's 19-7-1 with 4 knockouts in an 8-round super featherweight contest. Raven Chapman, who's 3-6, Sheffield light heavyweight, Khalil Ayub, who's 1-0, and Oldham's debutant, William Crawley. Sheffield's Galahad, who's 28-1 with 17 knockouts, turned in a superb performance as he clinically stopped Liverpool's Jazza Dickens in 11 rounds to claim the vacant IBF crown at Matchroom HQ in Brentwood, Essex, back in August, fulfilling his lifelong dream of becoming a world champion. So great news for them. And you can find out more about this fight going on, as I've always told you. Just go to boxing247.com. I'm giving you the headlines and the bits and bobs from the articles, and you can get the full spectrum of these fights, as I say, online on the Boxing 247 website. We see that Barrasso defends his gold belt against Davies on November 26 in Dubai. Ismael Barrasso versus O'Hara Davies. Dubai will be a great night of boxing on November 26 when the WBA super lightweight gold champion Venezuelan Ismael Barrasso faces O'Hara Davies in defense of his title. Barrasso is a natural puncher and former WBA interim world champion. He is 38 years old, but thanks to his power punch, he's kept the belt in his possession. He won it in December 2019 with a victory over Canadian Yves Ulysses Jr., but has been unable to defend it due to the pandemic pause. The South American returned to action in January this year and knocked out Nestor Panagui, a fight that helped him come out of inactivity, but in which his belt was not at stake. This fight is a great opportunity for Davies. The Brit could become gold champion if he beats Barrasso. He also has remarkable power and has been in quality fights. Davies has already fought WBA super champion and Scottish Josh Taylor, who is currently one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the division, but lost by technical knockout in 7 rounds. In addition, his 29 years represents an advantage over Barrasso. And that's all courtesy of MT Global. Elsewhere, on December 4th, we're seeing Lyndon Arthur versus Anthony Yard over in London at the Copper Box Arena. The blockbuster rematch between London Artur and Anton Yard will take place at the Copper Box Arena in London on Saturday, December 4th, live on BT Sport. The showdown between the two top light heavyweights falls a year from the pair's fierce, close-fought Battle of Westminster. Wow, cool. At Church House, where Artur prevailed on the cards of two of the three judges and retained his Commonwealth title, while adding the vacant WBO Intercontinental belt to his collection. More importantly, Arthur's victory saw him steal a march on his rival, and maybe it was match. Saw him steal a match on his rival and become the number one ranked contender for the WBO world title currently held by American Joe Smith Jr. Yard, who's 21-2, who dropped down to 12, is desperate to avenge his loss and leapfrog Arthur, who's 19-0 and returned to the top of the rankings ahead of a mandatory challenge being assigned to Smith Jr. Arthur maintained his unbeaten record as a professional and added a 13th knockout to his tally with a victory over Italian David Faresi at the Royal Albert Hall in July, with Yard returning to winning ways with a quick-fire stoppage of Alex Theron in Birmingham at the end of August. Now Yard and Arthur will again trade bombs with each other once again, this time in front of fans at the atmospheric Copper Box on the edge of the Olympic Park. And that's being promoted by our buddy Frank Warren. Coming up in December, this is interesting, coming up in December, the 34th Ring 8 holiday event and award ceremony, highlighted by the celebration of the 40th anniversary of the epic Larry Holmes, Jerry Cooney fight, World Heavyweight title fight, will be held Sunday afternoon between 11:30 and 5:30 at Eastern Daylight Time, December 12th at Russo's on the Bay in Howard Beach, New York. That should be quite a fancy affair. Ring 8's 2021 award winners will soon be announced, and recipients will be honored at the Ring 8 holiday event and award ceremony. Veteran trainer and Ring 8 board member Tom Gallagher will also be honored for his countless accomplishments in boxing. Good for them. Good stuff. All right, what else do we see coming up? We see that in December, Artur Berbief is going to take on Marcus Brown at the Bell Center in Montreal, Canada. WBC IBF Unified Light Heavyweight World Champion Artur Berbief moved to Montreal nearly a decade ago to embark on his professional journey following a pair of Olympic berths from his native Russia. 16 fights into his career, he will return to his adopted hometown for the first time as a world champion. Beterbiev, boxing's only world champion with 100% knockout rate, will defend his world titles against WBC number one contender and the 2012 U.S. Olympian Marcus Brown on Friday, December 17th at the Bell Center in Montreal. The Beterbiev-Brown clash will headline a loaded world title triple header, streaming live and exclusively in the United States on ESPN+. Undefeated light flyweight contender Kim Clavel will challenge for the title, while former IBF junior middleweight world champion Marie-Eve Duclair will attempt to regain her crown. Full details regarding the Clavel and Duclair fights will be announced shortly. That's being promoted by Top Rank and Group Yvonne Michel. That's Jim, G-Y-M. Alrighty, elsewhere, Matchroom, Montana Love signs a promotional deal with Eddie Hearn. Ooh. Montana Love has signed a multi-fight promotional deal with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Love, who's currently 16-0-1 with 8 knockouts, dazzled on his last outing, fighting Ivan Baranchik to retire him after 7 rounds in his Cleveland hometown. And the unbeaten 26-year-old will now look to kick on that form, that triumph, and climb the rankings. Kick on from that triumph and climb the rankings. Too Pretty currently sits at number 12 in the IBF and will be looking to rise from his first appearance with Matchroom, slated for December. And the talented southpaw is looking to grow his name outside the ring as well as in the ring. Love's story is an inspiring one, having turned his life around from spending time in prison to become a rising star in the sport and community supporter in Cleveland. And he hopes to be able to be an inspiration to his hometown while fulfilling his dream of becoming a world champion. Well, congratulations to Montana and congratulations to Matchroom for supporting someone who probably Didn't think you would see that one coming. Speaking of Matchroom, the bidding for the fight between Englishman Lee Wood and Irishman Michael Conlan for the WBA featherweight title, scheduled for Monday, October 11th, has been postponed for 7 days at the request of the promoting companies involved in the negotiation. Eddie Hearn, representative of Matchroom Boxing, and Carl Moretti, who represents Top Rank, sent an email requesting the extension to President Gilberto Jesus Mendoza and the WBA Championships Committee. Both parties expressed that they are very close to reaching an agreement for the 126 pounds bout, and that this week it will be finalized. Wood will make his first defense of his title against Conlan as a mandatory fight. Another fight obeys the WBA World Title Reduction Plan, and that has generated a lot of expectations among the fans. The British fighter has 25 wins, 2 losses, and 15 knockouts, while Conlan is undefeated in 16 fights with 8 knockouts. Should be a doozy. I love these things. When we come to the end of our segments, I like these quotes. Here we go. Diego Pacheco. I think it's realistic to have a world title fight by 22. So, Diego Pacheco versus Lucas de Abreu. Diego Pacheco believes he can be a world champion at 22 as he faces Lucas de Abreu over 8 rounds on Saturday night at Conchese Park in Fresno, California, which is going to be live worldwide on DAZN. Pacheco, who's 12-0 with 9 knockouts, has been impressive in his pro journey to date as the 20-year-old edges closer to 2 years in the paid ranks in December. The rangy Californian expects Saturday night to be his last 8-round action before tasting his first 10-round bout by the end of 2021. Pacheco expects a stern test from the unbeaten Abreu's 12-0 with 11 knockouts in his third 8-round bout on the spin. Pacheco intends to showcase what he's learned from stellar sparring sessions with the likes of Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez, and has spelled out the path he believes to take him to a world title and glory in 2023. I'm ambitious, said Pacheco. This is meant to be my last 8-round fight, and then I'm stepping up to 10 rounds. I'll be 21 in March, so I should have been in good 10-rounders and into 12-round fights by the time I'm 22. I think it's realistic to have a world title by 22. Why not? All right, fair enough. Why not? Speaking of Mr. Canelo, I'm going to knock this guy out in less than 10 rounds. Easy. Yes, Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant. It's going to take place in Las Vegas, as we all know, November 6th. With about 3 weeks to go before Saul Alvarez and Caleb Plant will fight for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship and the WBC, IBF, and WBO belts, the atmosphere is heating up. Canelo has a clear objective, and he needs to beat Plant to achieve his goal. He owns 3 belts and only needs the IBFs of his opponent. Should he win the fight, he'll become the undisputed champion against an opponent against whom everything has become a bit personal. I'm going to knock this guy out in less than 8 rounds, easy, Alvarez assured in an interview with Brian Campbell and Luke Thomas, hosts of the Morning Combat Show. The Mexican based his statement on his greater experience and his opponents he has fought, which are at a better level. I know what I need to do. I know him. He's a good fighter, and I know my skills, and I know that my experience will be decisive. Well, that should be a good fight, and I look forward to seeing it. Right. Speaking of Canelo, Manny Pacquiao's son trains with Team Canelo. Decent headline. Let's see what it says. The son of multiple champion Manny Pacquiao, Emmanuel Pacquiao Jr., who's 20 years old, stepped into the ring to share a few moments with Mexico's 4-time world champion Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is getting ready for his next fight, as I just said, on November 6th against Caleb Plant at the MGM and Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Pacquiao Jr. is visiting San Diego and had the opportunity to train and receive some advice from Team Canelo. led by coach Eddie Reynoso and Saul Alvarez. The video, shared by social networks, Emmanuel can be seen showing his boxing skills, and you can see that on boxing247.com. Pacquiao Jr. put on the gloves in 2019 as an amateur, but at one point his father said he would not want him to engage in this tough sport. Wow, and here he is. So, interesting to see how that all shapes up. Good to see him in the ring, though. I'm sure he will do great. What a great level of support. Canelo Jackson and win world titles. He was talking about Canelo. We'll see about that. Good comment from Marky Mark out there. Can Spence really move up to 160 pounds and win the world titles? I don't know. And I'm just looking forward to the Canelo Plant fight in the meantime. So let's see that one first, and then let's see how Spence and Crawford do. All right, that's all the news that's fit to print today. And I look forward to seeing you again on Monday. But tonight we have the panel at 7 p.m. Featuring our friend Tim Witherspoon, two-time former heavyweight champ, as well as I believe we're being joined by Iceman Scully, former boxer, and who's had some role to play down in Hollywood of recent. Anyway, should be a good panel this evening at 7 p.m. We was getting some good discussions. And before that, at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, join me and Mike Core and his show, Knuckle Up. Right. I'll see you again on Monday with the news. And until then, have a good weekend. And join us tonight, as I said, first at 4, then at 7 Eastern Daylight Time. Talkinfight.com. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Adios.